What's up everyone, it's Scotty with MoneyVest. So this is going to be the technical market update video that I post every weekend to go over all the really important technical patterns and the support and resistance levels for individual stocks that are super helpful for all of you. You guys have been loving these videos that kind of help you plan your trades for the upcoming week as well. So I'm going to go over everything you need to know from a technical standpoint in the upcoming week. As always, if you enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the members only benefits, including the intrinsic value spreadsheets, the VIX volatility spreadsheets, and of course a lot of other members only private videos. I posted one earlier this week going over explaining my trading system with data and spreadsheets. So this right here is a 17-minute video going over our volatility spreadsheet, our S&P 500, NASDAQ, percentage of stocks trading above, below moving averages. So they're, again, very, very important levels to really pay attention to. And it kind of helps us understand the sweet spot in the market where the risk reward is the most optimal. So it'll really help you in a better understanding. So definitely do check that out. Link's going to be down below. I did open up a few more spots if you want to join. Now, when it comes to volatility, we're going to start right here on the VIX. We have been getting crushed, obviously, down from highs of 23, 24 levels. We have just been selling off for the volatility, and now it's sitting at just under 15, which is also rare, which is going to be covered in our volatility spreadsheet. You can go there, check that out. We are coming down to lower and lower percentiles in terms of where the volatility is. And 2023, we have seen somewhat of a muted year. I mean, last year, this is all of 2022 volatility, when we were obviously very, very elevated. I mean, 30 was a pretty normal level for the VIX back then. So you can see the 30 level was very, very normal. But since 2023, we have seen, a subdued volatility only once in March of 2023 when we saw the volatility spike over 30. But since then, we have just been on this consistent downtrend. And the highest that we can get up to as much as 23, 24. So that's where we are, and VIX on the way lower. Next support really is going to be down to 12.7 level, where once again, we'll have to be a little bit more cautious. We'll have to look out below when the VIX is low because of the potential for markets to pull back. This right here is the NASDAQ percentage of stocks trading above their 200 simple moving average. So you'll notice that we didn't quite come down to those October lows that we saw from last year in 2022, but we did come down to 23, 24%. So this right here was the level that we came down to before seeing a very solid week of a lot of market participation and a broad rally across the board with lots of stocks, a lot of sectors rallying. All sectors were actually green on the day, and of course, a lot of momentum coming in for a lot of these individual stocks. Now, starting with S&P 500 first, I do want to mention that we are unfortunately still in the downtrend, okay? So I'm going to put down that over here in the trend. We are still very much in a downtrend, meaning that we are making lower highs and lower lows. So you can see that this right here is the downtrending channel within which S&P 500 is trading. So we got the lower high here, lower highs, couple lower highs over there, lower high over here, and now we're coming up to that lower high once again, as we have already consistently made lower lows 3 times, 4 times in a row. So just because we're in a downtrend doesn't mean that this pattern cannot shift. And just because we have rallied, it doesn't mean that we are going to break out, okay? So it is what it is. We're analyzing the market we're in, not the market that we want to be in. And it is just kind of not predicting, but understanding where we are in this process. And that is to say that we are still coming up to that very important resistance of 4,400. And it's really, really going to be a big battle next week at this lower high, whether the S&P can break out or it gets rejected. If you get a breakout here, then automatically we just made a new higher high. Right, that's going to be very good. That's going to be the start of a potential change in direction. And then what we want to see is, of course, recapture 4,500. That's going to be this, previous resistance. And then, of course, make a higher low. And then the pattern would eventually look something like a breakout, come back down, retest a higher low, come back over, down, up, down. That's going to be the potential level that we want to be looking at. So that would be the ideal pattern for the S&P 500 in case we get a breakout and, of course, start moving higher and get a breakout over 4,400. So very, very important resistance coming up at 4,400 on the S&P 500, and support level is going to stay put intact over here at 4,200, 4,175. So I'll just put down 4,175 to 4,200 as a very important support, and that's going to be in line with our previous analysis as well. Now, NASDAQ is also in a very similar downtrend. So what you'll notice is that we are, again, in this downtrend downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. That's almost identical to that of the NASDAQ. So you can see we are consistently making lower highs and lower lows. And this right here is going to be the next level at 13,700, 13,600 to 13,700, in line with this lower high and this previous resistance for the NASDAQ as well. And of course, now new intermediate support is going to stay put at 13,100 all the way down to as low as 12,500 as well. But we're not out of the woods yet. Like I said, we are still very much in the context of this downtrend. It's really going to come down to next week's battle between the bulls and the bears, whether the bulls have enough momentum to break us out above these resistance levels, or if the bears are going to once again creep back in and basically put a full stop right here. Nope, this is where the supply is sitting. Go back down. That's where we potentially could be headed. So same exact pattern. So we're going to put down downtrend. Support level is going to be at around 12,500 as a very, very important critical level. That's a little bit lower. There might be some intermediate support sitting right here as well. That's going to be 13,100. So I'll put down 12,500 to as much as 13,100, and resistance, a very, very important level to watch at 13,700 to break out of next week. Apple also in a downtrend. So if you come back over here, Apple is again lower highs and lower lows. A little bit of a falling wedge pattern, although it did get bought up after the earnings on Thursday. This right here is the downtrending channel, and we're coming up to a very important resistance. And that's going to be somewhere between 177 to 180, because not only do we have that lower high, but we've also got this resistance right here. So there's two levels to watch, with the support level is going to stay put now down to 172. So we've got a support at 172. Resistance $177 to $180 is where we are coming up to for Apple. Amazon with a very nice breakout. So Amazon was obviously in this downtrending channel of lower highs and lower lows for the longest time, and you'll notice a very nice breakout above this resistance at around 136, 135, and the next target and the next resistance is going to be at $146, kind of in line with this previous level as well, and the new support will be over here at close to 136, 137. Now, I could argue that Amazon is now starting to make some higher highs and potentially some higher lows, so it's in a little bit of an uptrend. Definitely higher highs, right? So it's broken out of this downtrend, but we haven't quite seen a higher low yet, right? So if you push higher here, if you come down, validate this support at 136, 137, then it's possible that we make our move back higher to 146, and that would be a very nice uptrending channel for Amazon. So that's something that's yet to be seen for the company. So support level is going to stay put at 136. And the next target and that resistance is going to be a 146. Okay. And in terms of trend, I will just write down potential uptrend, right? Because right now we're still making a higher high. So that's good. We broke out of that downtrend. So there's potential here that could lead to a downtrend. An uptrend. Tesla here, on the other hand, still very much in a downtrend. So lower highs and lower lows, very similar to the S&P, NASDAQ, and Apple. But it did break out very nicely back above that resistance of 212. And the next target is going to be $240. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Tesla. And support level is going to stay put right here inside this green rectangle. There's a lot of demand sitting right here, just like there's a lot of supply sitting over here in 280s to 320s. There's a lot of supply. There's a lot of demand sitting over here at 212s. So support level is going to stay put at 212. Basically, low 200s is what I'm going to call as support here for Tesla. And resistance near term 240 to, of course, as much as 280. But then we'll analyze that if and when it actually gets up to that level. But right now, all we have to understand is that still the downtrend is valid. Very nice breakout. Support level right over here in the low 200s. Resistance near term at 240 for Tesla. Now, talking about NVDA. NVIDIA has been a little bit of consolidation pattern, as we already know. It's been, basically trading sideways in this range for such a long time. Massive amounts of resistance sitting right over here in the $475 to $500 per share. So we've gone rejected here multiple times, as you can see inside the red sort of rectangle, and support level is going to stay put right over here inside this green area. Even if he came down to that level, we got perfectly bought up, and that's from low 400 levels. So this right here inside this green rectangle has been a very, very strong support for NVIDIA. And again, we've been validating that level for some time, for weeks now, which I also mentioned that could be a potential bull flag, right? In our previous analysis, we looked at there is possibility that NVIDIA could be making a little bit of a bull flag here, which could eventually lead to a big breakout. But I do think the fundamentals need to really justify that valuation at that point, because anything over $500 would obviously be very, very significant valuation for NVIDIA. And we've got a couple gaps over here to fill, and we've got a higher low sitting right over here with that uptrend as well. So for NVIDIA, we're going to put down $400, of course, as a support. Anything at around $475 to as much as $500 is going to be that resistance. A little bit of that horizontal pattern with a potential for a bull flag, right? So I'm just going to put down in question marks, bull flag question that we're going to have to come back and revisit once it comes up to that resistance. This right here is AMD. So for the longest time, it was in a downtrend, so lower highs and lower lows. We got a little bit of a breakout here, but that breakout really faded all the way back lower to actually making a new low. But with the earnings and of course that reigniting that momentum, on the back of earnings and earnings calls and Lisa Su, resistance now at $112. Now we haven't quite broken out yet. I mean, one could argue that we're already starting to see a breakout here past 112, but there's not a lot of follow through that's happened, right? So we need to wait until it breaks out about 112, and if you actually do see a higher high very nicely and some higher lows as well. So right now, I would put down, AMD as a horizontal pattern. As you can see that we are just getting rejected here, support level here. So we're going sideways with a resistance at 112, support at about $100 per share. So it'll be the same thing, but of course, there's a horizontal pattern with a potential for a breakout, right? If we do see some follow through for advanced micro devices, right? So $112 is the level to watch next week. And if you do see a breakout and a close above that level, then there's possibility that old resistance turns into a new support for advanced micro devices. Now, Meta Platforms, identical pattern to that of AMD and NVIDIA. So lots of consolidation sideways. So a lot of resistance and supply sitting right over here at 325 and support level, massive amounts of support sitting at 275 for Meta. So you can see that it's just been, trading sideways in that range. Now, this could also be argued as a bit of a bull flag, this right being the pull. We've got a, consolidation supply here, and then of course a breakout potential past 325. So that's where we are. Almost an identical pattern to NVIDIA and AMD, as I would put down lots of consolidation sideways with a resistance at 325 and support at roughly around 275. So that $50 range is where Meta has been trading for the longest time, right? So I'll basically put down horizontal pattern with a potential for a breakout above 325. This right here is Netflix, and Netflix has been on quite an interesting journey. It's, consolidated sideways here, then had a massive breakdown from this higher low and the horizontal pattern, then sold right back down, gapped up after the earnings, and it's now making its way back up to that resistance of $452. Seems like it really wants to get up to that level. That's a resistance where, of course, we have gone rejected multiple times. So the next resistance really is going to be at $452 for Netflix. We do have a pretty solid gap, pretty big gap over here for Netflix to may or may not eventually come back down to fill in, and $340 is going to be that support level to watch. So I would really put down a horizontal pattern. There's not really a possibility for a breakout, not right now, because if you do continue to push up, the R side, the MACD is going to get really, really overbought. So there's possibility. So the RSI and the MACD are really going to become a little bit more on the overbought side. So there's a possibility that we don't really see a huge breakout. So 452 is going to be that resistance level to watch for Netflix, and support level is going to stay put at $348 per share. Last but not least, we got Google and Microsoft. So Google here obviously been on a little bit of a sell-off. It is making some lower highs and lower lows. So I would argue that it is a little bit in a downtrend, as you guys can see over here. So we are making some lower highs and lower lows that we already made. So that next resistance really is going to be over here in line with this gap at $135 per share, and support level in the near term, I would say, is going to stay put at 126. But then all the way down to as low as about $117. So this right here, another very, very important support level to watch for Google, and that's going to be in a downtrend as well. Now, when it comes to Microsoft is on a very solid uptrend with some higher highs and higher lows. So we are making a very nice, consistent uptrend here. Now we are approaching a little bit of a resistance, with the support level is going to stay put at $340 per share, with the next target pretty much at the all-time high at close to 366. So we're going to put down $340 per share as the support. We're going to put down $340 as a really good support. That's going to be on an intermediate basis, $366 next target and that next resistance. And Microsoft probably the only one that's in a little bit of an uptrend right now, with a lot of potential for other stocks to carry forward and move forward as well, with a potential breakout and an uptrend as well. So what I would put down is the probability for us is looking up for this momentum to continue, with Microsoft leading the charge in this uptrend. NVIDIA, AMD, Meta very much in a consolidation pattern, trading in a range-bound pattern here with a horizontal high, horizontal low, but there is potential for bull flag breakouts and just regular breakouts. But of course, we do have Apple, Amazon, and Apple, Tesla, and Google in a little bit of a downtrend right now as well, with Amazon possibly making a bit of an uptrend as well and joining Microsoft in the ranks of that overall uptrend. So overall, S&P and NASDAQ are in a bit of a downtrend, considering that right now we do still have mostly consolidation here. So I guess this should really be in orange or yellow because there's not a lot of higher bias or lower bias at the moment. So that's why we are in a downtrend, because there's two that are in a straight up downtrend, four that are trading horizontally, and there's two that one of them is in a clear uptrend, one of them is in a potential uptrend at the moment, which is going to be Amazon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Next week is going to be very, very important for the market with a big battle between the bulls and the bears. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining our MoneyVest community, and all the intrinsic value spreadsheets, intrinsic value, stock reports, everything's going to be available. So links are going to be down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.